Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to be walking you through one of the new technologies that I've been using, and it's something called a MIDI. My digital piano that I've been using all along is fully capable of doing MIDI files. I've never messed with what that really fully means and what I could do with that. It's a totally separate beast within itself. I like to record what I describe as audio files, where it just is, I'm more interested in the sound rather than the exactness of everything. And from my audition experience, to get better, I started using the MIDI files to just make sure that everything was exact. And I started discovering some of the tools that I've had all along that I haven't been using. So all I have to do is with my iPad, I just have to plug this cable in, this thing right here, and then this is just an adapter, so it speaks to my iPad. And then whatever I play on the piano, my iPad can capture in one way or another. So I haven't really figured out everything, but it sure has helped me with it's helped with my composing. When I was composing, I was using my hands, just kind of touching all the keys on the screen itself. And now, instead of saying, okay, here's the chord I'm playing, and then typing that in, I don't know if this will be loud enough for you. Right, I'd have to do all that and then come back to the piano to figure out what the next thing I did. I can do that much faster. In fact, I can, do that almost. So it's a pretty great tool, and it's a little silly that I haven't used it yet. So I'm just gonna record a little bit of me composing out the accompaniment part to my daughter's piece that I wrote for her. It's called My Wish for You. I'll be performing it on June 22nd at a church. This just came up actually yesterday. So and the person that's going to play for me needs the accompaniment, and this is one of the few pieces I actually didn't write out the accompaniment to because I didn't know if I would ever end up using it in a professional sense. So here is me composing the rest of my accompaniment. Okay, this is my piece here called My Wish for You. This is from my daughter. And again, here is me using the piano, my actual digital piano, to help me do some of this recording. So here is just what I've written out so far. This is the very beginning. I'll play it on the iPad here for you, what I have so far. So that you can get a little bit of a taste of that. Sorry, I'm apparently selected on the trombone sound for some reason. There we go. All right, so that's a little bit better. Here's what it should sound like. Well, here's what it sounds like on the piano itself. Hear how they're pretty similar with each other there. So I'm doing a pretty good job so far. I'm actually using that audio file that I recorded a long time ago. This is how I record all of my accompaniments, so it sounds real compared to, actually me playing this is what a MIDI file basically is. It takes the information, from your computer and just plays it as a computer would, right? So lots of inflections and everything maybe are lacking, but exactness is not, right? So again, that's just kind of how this all works. And, say I'm looking for this first chord. Well, I know how long it's going to be. I have it down that it's a dotted quarter note, but say I don't really know what note I've got so far. So there I have maybe just that G, right? Or I could have the G and the D. And all I have to do is just, hit my piano. And so, of course, now it's going to do this. Every once in a while, it doesn't catch everything, as you can see right now. I hope this isn't an issue that I'm going to have as I do this. This happens every once in a while with my technological setup. That is an Amazon cord that I bought when I was living in Naperville years ago, and I think it was to actually help me compose, and I could not figure out how to make it work with my technology. So years later, it just suddenly starts working for me after not even thinking about using it. So I've gotten pretty far so far in this piece, so don't mind all this music moving by you. One thing I should also mention is that this is purple, right? That's kind of a little bit weird. Well, the reason for that is because every once in a while, like right over here in this measure, I have what you call two voices going on. So these top two notes right here that are now in purple, they're supposed to hold out the whole time. You can still hear them right there. Right, and so they're just supposed to hold out for the whole measure while I have something else that's moving. So that is, again, something that you call two-part voices. And so while one thing is holding, I have other fingers that are going to continue moving and pushing, the melody or even just the rhythms right along. That's something that I use a lot in my compositions. It's not always fun to notate for lots of reasons. It can kind of get a little bit tricky, but so that's why you'll find while I'm writing this stuff out that it is in purple. So, all right, so I am in the middle of listening to this piece here, and we should be right about, let me get back to here. Are you going to let me select? Oh, yeah, right. I should be about right there where that blue flashing light is. So I have to find this now. This is where it gets a little bit hairy. Yeah, so I think, yep, that's exactly right. I just switched to this F major chord right there. So yeah, I'm right in the right place for this. You might notice that tempo was a lot slower. One of the cool things about, having my piece recorded on my piano or in any other sense is that, I can actually mess with the time a lot. And so make it a little bit easier for me to listen to each note that I'm playing, exactly when, exactly where, and it's just easier for me to notate. So I'm going to have to go ahead and play that again for me just a little bit and back up my music. That sounds a little bit different than what I was expecting. So I'm going to back this up a little bit further. This is, again, just one of the fun things. I was composing earlier this morning and I walked away to have breakfast with my family. So I'm getting back into it and I have to find this spot. So you can enjoy this moment here for me. All right, we'll back it up to about here, I think. I think I'm right here. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so I had done a copy and paste right about over here, and what I copied was not what I ended up continuing to do. You might also hear that some of those notes were not exact. I don't even remember how I recorded this piece, in all honesty. I think I probably used just a chord chart, and so I just kind of played along. And if you remember back when I discussed it, this piece was again, something I just wrote for my daughter. You know, I liked it a lot, but I didn't know if I would ever have a professional sense to use this. So there was not a lot of exactness to it. It was just something I wanted to give to my kid while it mattered. So yeah, so here we are. I'm mostly figured out where we're at. I've got that tempo a little bit down, and every once in a while what I'm doing on the recording is not what I chose to do on the paper. That's another interesting thing that I know I've said before, but you know, as I manifest these pieces, right? What happens, you know, as I record is not always what happens when I put down on paper. You know, you lose a little bit of that mysticism where what's going to happen in each and every single measure, and now it's, well, this is what I want to happen in each one of those measures. So, and it does help in the long run, especially as you're trying to record or, you know, just have a great sense of time. Because if you don't know what you're going to do, it's really hard to have a good sense of time. So, all right, I have to back it up again, but I should be kind of checking in about right here to see what notes I was playing and what I want it to be playing. Yeah, so what I really like here is that I changed up my rhythms. I made this one long, and then I kept both of those, but as you can see, that note's red now because I have too many beats in this measure. I can only have so many beats, so that's actually a rhythm that cannot be played in the way that we notate our music. And what I had done in my in the recording is actually just turn that into an eighth note there. So here's what it should have sounded like. And here's what it is. I hope it, sorry for that sustained sound. Sometimes it does that. Let's see if I can get rid of that. I don't know. So that is, it's just a really, really small change. The only thing I got to check in on now is now that note is not lining up with my piano, the trombone there, I have to make sure that that's not going to sound goofy, because sometimes when this is not right in line with that, it can really cause some dysfunction between the two parts, and they have to be together in some sense. They need to be able to play off of each other. They got to collaborate. So here we're going to check back and just make sure that what I did here, I even like. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's a little bit different. Really, really messes with the rhythm, but to me, it's in a fun way, so long as, you know, it's done well. You know, if both of us really smack that note in our own playing, that can really kind of disjoin everything, but that's really, really lyrical spot there for the trombone, and this piano part. Right, just kind of. It's just rhythms and melody, and I like the way how that worked out. So I'm only going to do a couple more measures here for you, so hang with me and you can watch how I actually compose just maybe the next couple measures now that there's nothing in front of there. So yet again, I have to back up. This is just part of the process. So I really like what I did here. It's so different than what I would have done had I just composed this. So I know I heard a D, and then I think I heard probably a G. I don't know. Sorry, gotta keep that there and then move. And again, that was the wrong rhythm. So I think it's something close to that. I have to listen to it again. Let's see. All right, I gotta check in again. But now I lost my MIDI, of course. I'll just try and do a unplug and plug back in. Okay, I'm having some technology issues. I still want to show you what's going on. and you know why I do like using it when it's working. This happens to me every once in a while. Again, it could just be the chord. It could be, you know, that the piano was bought somewhere around 2015, and you know its connection with iPads and stuff like that would have only just been being figured out. I don't know. And so, you know, this happens to me sometimes, and I'll just revert back to my old ways of doing things. But if I can at least get some of this to show you, that's fantastic, because it does make my life easier. It's easier for me to know what I'm doing, especially if I'm like new composing. Right now, I'm you know, trying to what you call transcribe, which is like what was I doing? I have to figure out how I was playing it, what notes I was playing, what the rhythms were, and then put that down. And when I'm, you know, just composing, you know, my hands are just on the keys. I know exactly where I'm at. I'm not trying to recreate something. It's just I'm just trying to understand what I am creating and getting that on a piece of paper. So it's just different ways to go about things. But yeah, right here I kind of was doing. So my guess is I think I was doing this. I'm going to play it down the octave, because clearly my piano can actually catch that, and then from there I'll just tell those notes to go up the octave, and that's kind of the nice thing there. You know, if I have to do a whole bunch of these in a row, that's as quick as it has to go. Chances are, if I'm being really honest, this would be a measure where I have some two-part voice going on. It's not really important to me that this happens, and if you're using the pedal on the piano to sustain the sound, you're going to get similar qualities. So I'm not too authoritative when I'm composing things out how it exactly has to be. So, all right, got through that measure. Finally, let's see if we can get at least one more here, or get to hopefully the end of this phrase here. That's really my goal. So. I know how it finishes. I'll just put in a nice little A, of course, still not happening. And then I just know that I have to do this down, and then 2 quarter notes, and I can do that. And it just grabbed everything right away, right? Let me see here. Yeah, let's hear these chords. Yes, okay, I think I played a nice D major chord there. And then, like I said, I can just throw all these notes up the octave. So again, that's what I'll do. I'll select those notes and take them up. And then I just want to hear what I did here. Okay, so it's this. I always have to decide how I want to show the beat being, yeah, I think because it's going to be this, it's easier for me to show how it is. There's other ways for me to write this, by the way. It's too long because of that stupid dot there. My technology is not perfect. It doesn't matter. These 2 notes right here, if you combine them together, they're actually just a half note. Half notes look like this guy right here. They're worth 2 beats. The interesting thing, though, is if I kind of blow this up, you look at this right here, that is 1 beat and 2 beats, right? And this is 1.5 beats, and that is a half beat. So 1.5 plus a half equals 2. Right? So when you tie this over, it's showing where the beat actually is. And sometimes, you know, as a composer, you want to decide what's clearest for the person that's going to be playing this. Sometimes it is doing this. All these notes right here, they are not on the beat. And typically we find our quarter notes on a beat. So that can be a little bit
hard to see here. Notice how these notes visually don't really line up with anything. You know, these guys and these ones, they line directly, they're vertical with each other. And then those two are by themselves, and so are they. And sometimes it's actually kind of in the moment hard to really decipher. So by breaking up that beat visually over here, like I'm doing right there, that shows, hey, here's the first beat, 1 and 2 and. So okay, I know that that's going to be on the and of a beat. And then I have to really keep counting because that's going to be on the and of the final beat there. So here it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I haven't composed out that final measure there, but that's probably what it's going to be. Just that's really something you got to think about as you're composing. Like, you know, how can I clearly make this something that you're going to be able to replicate as quickly as possible without having to practice, okay, what is that rhythm in that measure there? However, you know, doing the opposite and always showing where the beat is, well, then I have to turn this and this into eighth notes. And then on top of that, they have to have another eighth note with them. And then on top of that, this guy has to be tied and that guy has to be tied. That doesn't look better, right? The only time that it's kind of helpful is I know exactly where to place my final left hand note, and no, it does not agree with, you know, the right hand note there. They don't go together. But visually, for the eyes and everything, that is not a really helpful measure there. So again, sometimes it's great to have less notes on the page. Sometimes it's great to have more, and that's something I have to pay attention to. All right, one more measure for me to go here. I'm about halfway through this. This one's going to be a tie. I already know that, so I'm just going to take a guess here. Should be something like that. Got to get rid of the tie, and let's see what happens. All right, yeah, I was doing some. Oops, I think, did I lose? Yeah, cool. Again, not always something that I would be thinking about if I was just composing this, but when I'm freely playing through something that has absolutely nothing and I'm just filling out the measures, sometimes I do more interesting things. So what I did here, probably something like that. So I got to change up this beat here, and then moving on to here. I don't think those were the right notes. Let me restart that. You know what? I'm just going to listen to it again, and then I should be able to catch it. And now I just figured out that measure, at least with the right hand. Okay. Let's also do the left hand, and then we'll be done with this for this little bit. This is really basic, what I do with my left hand, pretty normal for me. I think I even only just played this one note here, but in the next one, I know I kind of come back, I go. Yeah, did I do so? Oh, you, right here. Every once in a while, it sticks with some notes that I didn't ask for. All right, and now that. All right, so that is how I compose with my piano, with that MIDI file, reading everything that I'm doing on the piano on my iPad.
All right, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And yeah, that is me using a MIDI file.